Hi everyone. Welcome to the Google Accessibility Showcase. We're thrilled to be here in Kenya and have loved the past few days exploring this beautiful country, and especially meeting all of you. My name is Chung Kim. I'm an accessibility analyst on the Chrome accessibility team. I am a South Korean man. I have black hair, a black blazer, some black pants, as well as a black Google t-shirt.
Hi everybody, I'm Abigail Klein. I'm a software engineer at Google as well. We both work on the Chrome accessibility team. We're so happy to be here. I'm a white woman, short, so I'm wearing some heels right now. I'm wearing a blazer and some nice pants, dressed up way fancier than any engineer has ever been, I think. Chung and I, and Henri next to me as well, are all wearing the Google accessibility t-shirt, and we wanted to describe it for you. It's the Google logo with the full Google name with the colors blue, red, yellow, green. But the two O's are replaced with a Braille O, two Braille O's, I should say. The G is replaced with a sign language G, letter G. And the E has a wheelchair on the top with the round top of the E as the wheel. Just a little technical difficulties.
Yeah, so before we proceed, we also wanted to introduce ourselves in American Sign Language, which we recently learned is very similar to Kenyan Sign Language. And so we want to welcome the deaf and the signing attendees of this conference. In this showcase, we're going to discuss some of the accessibility tools and features we've built at Google. In order, we'll cover Captions, Chrome, Chromebook, and Android.
We'll start with Captions. All right, so I'm going to start with some statistics. According to the World Health Organization, 1.5 billion people globally have some amount of hearing loss, and that number is expected to continue to grow due to issues like recreational exposure to loud sound. And unfortunately, according to the HTTP archive, which tracks the current state of the web, only about 0.5% of videos and 0.02% of audios have an associated audio track or a caption track. And this statistic meets our intuition as we know that many content creators and other website authors upload videos or podcasts without captioning them. So at Google, we're just trying to solve for this problem by offering machine-generated captions to fill in the gap when human-generated captions are not available. Many of the products we are going to describe were actually ideated and created by some Googlers who are deaf themselves and use their own experiences to inspire these innovations. We have two products called Live Caption, which caption video and audio such as podcasts, which are playing on your device. They work without an internet connection as well. Live Caption is available on Google Chrome, so when you're browsing the web on your computer, or on your Android device when you're using your Android device for any application you want. We also have YouTube Captions, which generate automatic captions for YouTube videos if the content creator didn't include them. I assume many people in this room are familiar with that one. In addition, as we know, many conversations which occur virtually in the real world or in presentations like this one don't have an interpreter or a caption provider available to provide real-time captions. And so Google offers products for these situations, again, to try to fill that gap. First, on Android, live transcribe captions conversations happening in the real world. Second, slides captions, which is what we're using right now to give this presentation. It captions a presenter as they are giving a presentation, as we're speaking. And finally, Google Meet, which is our virtual meeting software, has captions for virtual meetings. And we also offer 2 features which combine the power of Google's speech recognition with Google Translation. In Google Meet and in YouTube, we can automatically generate captions in the language spoken by the speaker, and then we can translate them to the viewer's preferred language. So now we're going to do some demonstrations of a few of those products. I wanted to start with live caption on Chrome. So I pulled up a website right now. This is a website with a couple of podcasts, and the podcasts have the title of the podcast and a description below it, but it doesn't actually have a transcript of the podcast itself. And so this is inaccessible. I'm going to press play and let's see what happens.
Is a pharmacy technician. On a typical day, she takes inventory of prescriptions and secures approval from insurance.
Okay, so I just muted the podcast, but it's still playing, and I'm going to describe what's on screen. There's a black box on screen, and captions are being shown automatically, like in real time, being generated based upon what that speaker, that voice that we just heard, was saying. So this is actually captioning the podcast right now in real time, and it can actually be done offline. You don't need an internet connection to do this. This is that feature, live caption. And I just want to show you really quickly. Thank you. I'm going to show that we can change some settings. So we're in a big presentation. Oh, uh-oh. Oh, it's back. Okay, good. We're in a presentation right now, so I can change the size. I have a bunch of other options like font, color, et cetera, to make it really personalized to whatever works best for you and your vision and your experience. All right, I'm going to pause the podcast. And I'll X this out. Okay, the second thing that I wanted to show you was the translation, the auto translation on YouTube. So is Rosie here? Maybe not. There she is. Rosie is our amazing colleague based here in Kenya, who's going to do the verification that the Swahili is accurate, because we're going to try to translate to Swahili, but I only know a few words. Karibu. That's pretty much it. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to play a YouTube video. It's going to have English captions playing. What I'm going to do is I'm going to translate the captions automatically to Swahili, and I'm doing it in real time. This wasn't prepared. So I'm going to settings right now, and I'm going to the auto translate menu, and I'm scrolling down until I find Swahili. All the way at the bottom, we have over 70 languages available. Here it is. I'm going to click it. And so now there's Swahili playing. I'm just going to turn on the volume so you know that there's a video playing.
For everybody.
Grace in the general education classroom because she can do.
So this video is in English, and now the captions below are in Swahili translated.
It's correct, yes. Amekuwa na vifaa wingi, mara nyingi inambidi awe na msaidizi. Yeah, it's all correct. Well done.
Thank you. Okay, one final demo that I want to show you. I'm going back to my original presentation. I'm pressing play. And I wanted to just give a little story about this. So one of my closest friends, who's also an engineer at Google, she's hard of hearing. And she and I used to go to talks just like this one together many times. And we would leave early often because the microphone quality was not good for her. It would basically make that her exact hearing loss was unable to understand what was happening, what was being said. So we would leave these talks early. It was very frustrating. And one day, we just kind of turned to each other and we said, hang on, we have this speech technology that we use in Google Assistant. Why can't we use it for presentations too? So we had this idea to build captioning right into Google Slides. So I'm just going to demonstrate that right now. So now I'm demonstrating Slides Captions. Uh-oh, because the microphone is all the way over there, so it's not working. Okay, well, that's unfortunate. I don't know what to do. I think that the problem is that we set up the microphone all the way in the back, and so it's not picking up this audio right now, and it's not working at all. Well, live demos, everybody. Thank you.
Can you go back? Can you turn on Chrome? Sweet. Well, thank you, Abby, so much for those wonderful demos. Next, we'll talk about Chrome accessibility. So, with the show of hands, who's familiar with Google Chrome? Cool. Looks like almost most of you are familiar. And as many of you know, Chrome has a lot of cool features, like helping you manage your tabs with ease and syncing across your devices. Today, however, we're going to talk about some cool features you might not be aware of, which are helpful for accessibility. We're going to quickly run through a selection of features that we built for Chrome, and at the end, we're going to do a small demo. You can turn any of them on in the accessibility settings, and for more information, we have a link at the end of the presentation, and we really also encourage you to visit our booth just right outside this room. So first, we built two features which use machine learning to fill in some gaps with content creators when they haven't included the right accessibility labels. We built Live Caption, which generates automatic captions for any video or audio, like a podcast, that you're playing on Chrome. We also built Get Image Descriptions from Google, which generates automatic alt text for images that weren't already labeled. Second, we built Care Browsing and Focus Highlight, which help you not lose your place with just your keyboard. And finally, let's face it, there's a lot of distractions on the web. We built Simplified View on Android, which strips out some of the distracting content on your web articles to focus in on the stuff that matters.
There are a couple of other helpful features we wanted to highlight. One of my favorite features personally is that we combined the power of Google Translate with Chrome, and we built it right into Chrome. I really like reading news articles from different countries, and Translate helps me to understand them in English.
And my favorite feature is how Google remembers my passwords and addresses for me when I'm filling out my forms. So Chrome works with any assistive technologies you use, like screen readers, magnifiers, voice detection, and more. For example, you can turn on NVDA or Zoom text or both and use Chrome to browse the web as well as check your emails. Sweet. Now I will do a live demo of Get Image Descriptions. So before I begin, we'll be using Chromebox, the built-in screen reader for Chromebooks. To turn on Chromebox, one can press Control-Alt-Z to turn the screen reader on and off. Now, I'm just exiting out of the presentation into a web page that we built. And now I'm going to turn on Chromebox, and we'll explain what's happening as we go throughout this demo.
Chromebox spoken feedback is ready. To get missing image descriptions, open the context menu. Image. Image 2. Image. Image 3. Image.
So as you may have heard, there were 3 unlabeled images, as well as a prompt to turn on Get Image Descriptions. Now, I'm going to get into the context menu and turn on Get Image Descriptions. So please pay close attention to what happens next.
Menu opened. Press up, yes, I'm in. Default. To get missing image descriptions, open the context menu. Image. Inclusive Africa. Chromic. Appears to be. Ruins of the ancient city Maya City, Central America, Mexico City. Image. Appears to be. A cheeseburger with fries, French fries, burger, American cuisine. Image. Appears to be. Table setting for a wedding reception banquet, rehearsal dinner, wedding reception. Image.
Thanks, Google. I couldn't have described them better myself. So with that, we will move into the next portion of our presentation. Now, we're going to talk about a laptop made by Google called the Chromebook, which we're using right now. Chromebooks are lightweight, durable laptops designed for students. They boot up in less than 10 seconds, and the battery lasts all day long. And they are designed to be simple, affordable, secure, and shareable. Chromebooks are accessible out of the box, meaning assistive technologies are available for your use without needing to download any third-party software. Since Chromebooks run on Chrome, you get all of the accessibility features we discussed in our previous presentation. And like before, we're going to quickly run through a selection of features that Chromebook supports. And at the end, we're going to do a small demo. Like before, you can turn on any of these features and more in the accessibility menu in your Chromebook settings. Chromebooks have several features for users with varying degrees of vision loss. Chromevox, like the one we just used, is the built-in screen reader which makes content accessible through synthesized speech and Braille. It's full-featured, giving users enough functionality at their fingertips to accomplish daily tasks. Chromebooks have several full-screen magnification options, including a dock magnifier that lets you keep context while zooming in the part of the screen you want to focus on. Select to Speak is a feature for users who need synthesized speech, but may not need to use a full-featured screen reader. When active, Select to Speak allows users to highlight text they want to hear, then reads it out loud. In addition to users with low vision enjoying Select to Speak, it's useful for users with reading disabilities like dyslexia, early readers, and language learners.
Chromebooks also have several accessibility features for users with varying types of motor disabilities. So automatic clicks is used for users with motor impairments who don't have the ability to put pressure on the mouse to click. It pairs with mouse, joystick, or head control. Dictation lets users speak to type into any edit field. And finally, switch access is meant for users with more significant mobility challenges and allows them to interact with their device using one or more switches. Now we're going to head into some demos. You already got to see or hear Chromebox with Chung's presentation, so we're going to skip that one, and we're going to demonstrate Select to Speak. So what I've opened up is the Google Accessibility resources, which we're going to share with all of you after the presentation is over. It's our website. I'm going to demonstrate Select to Speak. So first I'm going to turn it on in the accessibility menu, which is available in the quick settings in the dock. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to click the Select to Speak menu, and then I'm going to I'm going to highlight the text that I would like to speak aloud. Now this is also available with keyboard shortcuts and keyboard selection, but I'm going to do it with my mouse right now because it's a little bit more visual. So I just clicked Select Speak and I'm going to highlight it. It highlights with a pink rectangle with my mouse, and I'm going to let go. Oh, I have to give permissions.
General accessibility questions and info.
Now I can click the next button and it'll read the next line.
G.co/disability support. Available in English only, Monday through Friday 8 a.m. 5 p.m. Pacific Time. The Disability Support Team is available.
Just paused it. So just to explain what's happening, every word that is spoken is also highlighted, so it helps people follow along as it's being read in order to potentially learn English or learn a new language, but also to rest your eyes if you need to, or if you just want to take in information in a different way. We can also change the speed, changing it to 2x.
To answer questions about using assistive technology with Google products and accessibility features and functionalities within Google products.
Many of you screen reader users are probably thinking that sounded kind of slow. But to the rest of us, that sounded pretty fast. All right. Starting the presentation again, that's it for Chrome OS. Chromebooks. We're going to pass it off to Henri now to talk about Android services and Android accessibility.
Thank you, Ab. Thank you, Chung. Let's give another round of applause to them because they did live demos. Almost everything worked. If everything works on a live demo, that's another live demo. So, just be aware of that. Well, let me introduce myself. My name is Henri. I'm a technical program manager on the Central Accessibility Engineering team at Google. And I'm a white male with brown hair, wearing a gray version of the T-shirt that Abby described brilliantly. And I'm half Latino Brazilian and half Asian. And I am part of the disabled community. I am a neurodiverse. I have ADHD, which makes for some interesting stories maybe one day I can tell you. And I'm here today to talk a little bit about some of the accessibility services and apps available on Android phones. So without further ado, let's start. I know that I'm the only thing between you and the lunch, so bear with me. I'll try to make that worth it, all right? So first of all, let me talk quickly about some of the most important accessibility services or applications that are available right now on Android phones. We have what we call the Accessibility Suite, which is a set of services for independent setup, use of Android. And part of that, we have TalkBack, which is the default screen reader for Android phones, and other tools for users for blind or low vision users. Select to Speak, which is very similar to you just saw demonstrated for Chrome. And we have the Magnification, which is a simple tool that helps you to see, to magnify, amplify, zoom in into the screen, which is interesting. A few years ago, I went to give a workshop on accessibility on Android, and I saw many users using a magnifying glass with a phone. And actually, we do have this tool in which it helps a lot. For physically impaired or injured users, we have the accessibility menu, which is a tweak on the UI, on the interface of your phone to make easier for you to turn on or turn off accessibility services. Switch access, which allows users with motor impairment to operate their devices through a switch device, a button, or for some of the newer devices in the latest Android version, they can also use their camera. And I'm going to show that a little bit later for you on how that works. Also for blind and low vision users, we do have the Braille back, which allows you operate an Android with a Braille display. And the Google Lookout, an application that helps to helps describe the world around you. So helps you read signs and help describe objects. And I'll show you also a little bit of that in a moment. Also, we do have voice access, which allows you navigate your device with your voice, which is a little bit different from the assistants from Google Assistant or Siri. It actually allows you to operate the screen as if you were touching that, but actually you use your voice. For all users, but especially deaf and hard of hearing users, we do have two services, one called Sound Amplifier. I'll explain more about that, and Live Transcribe. Finally, for cognitive impaired users, this is something relatively new, but at Google, we are also concerned about not only what we can see, the visible disabilities, but also the invisible disabilities, the cognitive impairments. And one way we address that is through this little app called Action Blocks that helps you to customize routines and make that real easy for you to access them. Okay, I'll talk a little bit more about those services. So TalkBack, if you have an Android phone and you are visually impaired, so you are very familiar with that, which is the screen reader by Google available for Android phones. And we do have BrailleBack that works along with TalkBack to allow the operation to integrate Braille displays, allowing users to have the benefits of that. Something new is that these two separate applications, with the upcoming release of the Android 13, they will be integrated now into a single one. So TalkBack on Android 13, you will operate directly with Braille displays without the need of any additional application. Switch access, as I said, so allows you to interact with Android devices using one or more switches.
Can we get the slides to show on the screen? Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I was so focused on you that I haven't realized that my slides were not there. Anyway, the switch access, it allows you to interact with your phone with just one switch or two, especially important for motor impaired users, like quadriplegic or Parkinson's, people with Parkinson's or essential tremor. And a new thing is that you can also, in the latest Android 12 version, you can interact with that using your camera. Think about what Stephen Hawking used for his communication, and we do have that available on Switch Access. Okay, so we have back slides. Sound Amplifier, it enhances audio for using your Android device, using headphones to improve listening clarity. So it amplifies sounds around you on your phones, but more importantly, it uses machine learning and controls a number of settings, more than 100 settings, to filter the sound and clear and eliminate the noises and make the speech easier to understand. And that's not important. That's important not only for that's not important only for deaf or hard of hearing users, but think about other situations. When I was learning English, and I was absolutely terrified to go to noisy places, to bars, because I couldn't understand people. That was really hard. So wish I could have Sound Amplifier available at the time, because it clears out the noise and would allow me to hear with more clarity the conversations around me. Voice access, as I told you, is it helps people with also motor disabilities to operate your phone through their voice. And as I said, that's different from the assistant. That is actually a virtual operation. It's pretty much like if you were touching your phone, but using your voice. So, for instance, think about people with essential tremor, so it's impossible to click on those small targets on the screen. And voice access allows you to do that. Live Transcribe, so and sound notifications is an application that helps, again, hard of hearing, deaf users, but also other users like language learners by transcribing conversations around you and using just your Android phone, and also describe some of the sounds like crowd, applause, laugh, and we will identify that and we'll show in our screen. I have here, for instance, two screenshots to show that you can even save your transcript for 3 days. And you can even get alerts, like the phone vibrating, when someone says your name. So think about you are distracted, think about life, and then someone says your name, it buzzes, and you go, oops, yes, no, I was paying attention. And very important for ADHD people. We have another application, Lookout, which is an assisted vision application. So Lookout uses computer vision, machine learning, artificial intelligence to assist people with low vision or blind users to understand, to have a context about the environments around them. So they can use their phone camera to learn more about the world around you. So it will describe common objects on our environment. It will read text, so it recognizes texts and we read back aloud. For some currencies, not all, but for some currencies it even helps to identify which bill are you holding, so you're not get scammed when you're doing some transaction. And finally, you can capture entire pages and documents. Think about restaurant menus, even handwriting, and read that back to you. Action blocks. So this is an application that we've launched. Our Cognitive Inclusion Hub launched a couple of years ago that helps users with some cognitive impairment to have access to routines on their phone in an easy way. So it allows you to customize and create big buttons on your screen that perform a few pre-programmed actions like turn on light, turn off light, or call mom. Okay, but enough of speaking, and now I'm gonna demonstrate some of that. And I'll warn you, something is gonna go wrong. So if that's not, it's because I'm cheating. So give me 1 second while I set that up. So I'm gonna project the screen here, so it's easier for you to follow what's going on, and to prove that I'm doing the real thing. I'm not, playing some pre-recorded video. Okay. All right. I hope that's not big, but. All right, so the first one I want to show you is the action blocks, exactly the last one that I mentioned, that allows you to have pre-programmed or pre-configured actions and have that easily available on the home screen of your phone, of your Android phone. So I have here, for instance, you can see that I have one big button here, cat videos, of course. Who doesn't like cat videos? So if I push this big button, it's gonna bring up the assistant and perform the action. And of course, there's a small ad here. Please watch the ads to the end, and we'll do the action here. Or you can, plan. Let's say, I want to create another action block. So let's say that I'm giving that to my son. And I want to have an important, action, which is call mom. So I can pre-configure that. And that will call as long as I have my mom here. Oh, this was rude. But anyhow, I don't have my mother's name here pre-configured on the phone, but you get the idea of that. All right, so the next one I want to show you is the switch access or the camera switch access. So as I mentioned, you can use like a physical button to control your phone with one button, two buttons. So you can perform actions. One button, for instance, helps you to select anything on the screen, and the second button will perform the action. But you can also use your front-facing camera to perform those actions as well. So let's see how it goes here. Okay, I activated that. So my configuration, you can customize that, is that if I raise my eyebrows, I'm going to navigate through the screen, and when I open my mouth, I select an action of that. And I'm speaking and looking at my face and doing all kind of stuff. You can even pause the camera in those situations, but let's go. You can see that the focus ring here, showing that I'm navigating across my application. You can see that I can navigate. I'm going to pause that. Okay, cool. All right, we have the screen back here. So what I want to show you now is the Google Lookout. So as you can see, you can have like modes in the Google Lookout where it helps you to explore the world, read food labels, identify currency, and read text for you. It uses machine learning as well, of course, and it works offline for most of the content that it can identify and resolve on the phone. So, which is really important because not always that we have internet connection. So, how do we do? And let me see. Okay, let's see.
Outerwear. Text. Invent gas. Text. Two people. Person with text. Energy. Text.
Okay.
Text. MasterCard. Text. TM. Text. Inable. Text. INCLUSONFER. Couch. Clothing.
All right, and that's a brief demonstration of the lookout. And I want to close this little demonstration with the live transcribe. And I want to invite back to the stage here my colleague Rosemary, our Swahili expert in residence. Thank you. Let's give her a round of applause. Thank you, Rose. All right. So I'm opening the live transcribe tool. Okay, you can configure on live transcribe. Oh, yep. Can we bring that? All right. So it's configured initially for English, and you can configure a second language, actually, because that's a common situation that we find. And it leverages a number of technologies that we have researched for a number of years at Google. For instance, Project Relate used to be called Project Euphonia, project related that helps through the machine learning to identify speech, even mildly impaired speech. And it can even understand my funny accent with a very good precision, which is great. But we also do have available that for about 70 languages, and one of them is Swahili. So I want to just make a little bit of test here. Rose, can you help and say something in Swahili? Mine is just so bad. So.
Jina langu ni Rosemary. Jina langu ni Rose. Okay, oops. Let's try again. Sasa ni wakati wa chakula. It came out right, correct. That's correct.
All right, great. Thanks so much, Rosie, and for your help. And anyway, for the sake of time, I just showed really briefly a few tools, but we'll be outside on the Google booth, and you can come and we can talk. I can show more about those available tools, and we can have a conversation. So if you are interested, of course, after lunch. I'm kidding, we'll be here, but I recommend you to get lunch. And we'll be more than happy to show you some of those innovations and what's coming up in the upcoming Android 13 that will be out in a few months. Thanks very much for your time, for your attention. And thank you, Abby and Chung, for your amazing demo as well.